that be so? Why? What are the impediments? In fact, I'm not getting into the merits of what you have said, but what are the impediments in our failure to improve relations with our own neighbors, the own immediate neighbors?
Why are they called contingency deployment force (NSG)?
You became a assistant commandant in CRPF,
Yes.
posted in Chhattisgarh area,
Yes.
and then you have to lead the force,
Yes.
my friend. At the same time, they are the Indian people. At the same time, you are the target.
Yes, sir.
CSF, security forces are target for them.
Yes.
How will you make the equilibrium balance so that you will safe also, and you have to protect their rights also, and you have to neutralize them also? In that situation, you have to act.
May I come in, sir?
Please come in.
Good afternoon, sirs.
Please be seated.
Thank you, sir.
You are Vishal Goswami,
Yes,
isn't
sir.
it?
Yes, sir.
And you have mentioned that you read only Sanskrit, but you don't speak at all.
Yes, sir.
But do you know some shlokas of Sanskrit?
Yes, sir. I know Gayatri Mantra.
Or Gayatri Mantra ke alawa anything else?
Sir, I know.
Some shloka from the Bhagavad Gita.
No, sir. Sorry. I can only read. And it was in my 8th when last time I read about it.
Acha, so you read something in Sanskrit in 8th and you are able to, you can only read.
Yes, sir.
And once you read, can you understand Sanskrit?
Sir, it's very difficult because.
Very difficult. I don't think it's so difficult, but anyhow. Now you have got in 10th, you have scored a perfect 10.
Yes, sir.
And then after that also you have been doing very well in your examinations, and then of course you have majored in history.
Yes, sir.
And you also have a JRF.
Yes, sir.
JRF is what? Junior Research Fellowship
Yes, sir.
in history.
Yes, sir.
When is it awarded?
Sir,
After your graduation,
Yes, sir.
right?
When I was in my 3rd year, I filled the form
Right,
and get the JRF.
right. And then you have mentioned you have merit awards in 10th, 12th and graduation. What are the merit awards in 10th, 12th and graduation?
Sir, merit award means I got good marks and I was one of the top performer in academics, and because of that I was awarded some
Oh, I
prizes.
see. And then you have mentioned about historical tourism.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by historical tourism?
Sir, historical tourism means visiting different places to know about their history and understanding and exploring the culture of India and history.
So now tell me, where have you visited from this perspective?
Sir, I visited many places in New Delhi, and I also visited Asirgarh Fort in Haryana, which is located in Hisar, and I also visited many places nearby my area and also in Jaipur, sir.
You are from Bagpat, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So have you? So you are from near in Delhi itself, you know.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me one thing. You said that you have done a lot of tourism in the place of Delhi also.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen the Baolis of
Yes, sir.
Delhi?
Yes, sir.
And why were the Baolis made?
Sir, biologies were made because in medieval times and in ancient times, it was very important to store water and to use for a longer period of time, because in India we get rain only for 3 months, and after that there is less rain. So there is very important to store water and use it continuously.
Have you walked down the Baolis anywhere?
No,
Have you
sir.
seen from distance?
Yes, sir. I seen it from outside, because when the Baoli which I visited, and it was not open for to go inside.
Yeah, but tell me one thing. Like now you are mentioning about historical tourism, which means you also lead the pack.
Yes, sir.
Like you are leading and are you following?
Yes, sir.
Ye dekho, something like, you know, and you go to big cities, especially in Europe, and they have a walkway tour.
Yes, sir.
I think the same thing has started about Old Delhi also.
Yes, sir.
Walking tours of Delhi.
Yes, sir. When I was in my
So now tell me one thing. One good historical tourism that you conducted.
sir, I conducted with my fellow classmate when I was in my 3rd year. We visited Purana Killa, and we visited the monuments which are located in the Purana Killa.
Tell me some monuments about. Tell me something about the history of those monuments.
Sir, there we have the library in which Humayun Humayun died when he was just coming from the second floor. And we also have Sher Shah Suri. So Sher Shah Suri the monuments which were built by Sher Shah Suri, and the red or the Khuni Darwaja, which is located there. And so we understand about the history from that perspective, because it is important to have a direct connection with the archaeological and monumental structure.
Now you're mentioning about following international affairs.
Yes, sir.
Now, in the context of historical tourism, have you visited somewhere abroad also?
No, sir.
No. Anyhow, so international affairs. What are you following at this point in time?
Sir, I am following like India's relation with different countries, how we are managing Maldives, and how India's stature is increasing in the international affairs. We are concerned with our diaspora and in various countries, how we are supporting our diaspora mainly in the context of Ukraine, and also from Sudan, how we started the operation to bring them back and also support them whenever the
But tell me one thing. I mean, you've been watching international affairs, and you are saying that India is rising, and you are doing a lot of good things. Now, if that be so, why? What are the impediments? In fact, I'm not getting into the merits of you have said, but what are the impediments in our failure to improve relations with our own neighbors, the own immediate neighbors?
Sir, the biggest impediment I see in improving relations with our neighbors, first is the history of the region, that how partition happened, and the boundary, there are conflicts related to boundaries, and the India which we got after 1947, its boundaries were not demarcated as such, especially in the context of Kashmir and Arunachal Pradesh, and we have very difficult relations with China because of that. And also in the context of Nepal, they are claiming Lipu Lake and other region also, but it is very difficult in this context, because they make it a local political issue, and it is very difficult to manage relation with on these issues, because they become sensitive in this issue. Second, the refugee problem which the Northeast is facing, especially, it is very difficult in this context to maintain a good relation with them. But overall, I think that we have cordial relations with many countries, not China and not with Pakistan, but we have Bhutan, Nepal, and Myanmar, and Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka, and I think we are doing good in this context.
Given the situation as it is, what are the concrete steps that you would suggest for India to improve its relationship with its immediate neighbors?
Sir, I suggest that India should focus on building long-term strategic cooperation. For example, India should focus on developing infrastructure, in the sense that our neighbors can also get benefit from that. For example, India can buy hydroelectric power from Nepal, and if they will benefit from that, then I think that they will have confidence on India, and they will not feel threatened. And secondly, we can do that, we can demarcate our borders, and we should ensure how the at the diplomatic level, and ensure that both the parties agree to the border. And we should also increase people-to-people contact, especially in the context of Bangladesh. We have that relation, but because of the refugee crisis, so we should focus on that also, and raise the issue, and strengthen our border also, because if refugee problem will kept on increasing, then it is difficult to maintain good relations.
What do we do with Pakistan in that case?
Sir, I think in the case of Pakistan, it is very difficult to ensure good relation, because we want to ensure good relation, especially in the context of neighbor, but the neighbor is itself very rigid, and so in this context, we can ensure that our borders are very much strengthened, and we can focus on our border, so that there is no act of terrorism, and then we can ensure that in this context there will be no issue. Secondly, we can start the trade, especially the regime which came in Pakistan is in favor of starting the trade. And third, I can see that some unofficial diplomatic channels can be opened, because it is difficult to open diplomatic channel in the context of the terrorism which Pakistan propagate. So because it is also an issue of politics also.
Right. Thank you. Sir.
Yes, sir.
Vishal, you would have heard of NSG while you're preparing for CAPFs. NSG.
Yes, sir.
Tell me something about it. Whatever little you know about it.
Sir, NSG was formed in 1984, I believe, and it was formed after the 1984 Sikh riots and also the Sikh related issues, and it became the force.
It was because of Blue Star or Sikh related issue?
Sir, it was related to Blue Star and also Sikh related issues, because it was important in the context of Khalistan issue, and the terrorism was increasing. So in this context, to cooperate with especially terrorism, this organization was established, because we want a force which can be used and can be mobilized at and it is can be on the alert to deal with terrorism. So in this context, NSG was formed.
What are they called, nicknamed as?
Sir, Black Cats.
Black Cats.
Yes.
Where has the name been derived from?
Sorry, sir.
Where has the name been derived from or taken from?
Sorry, sir. I'm not okay.
You would have heard of Operation Black Tornado.
Sir,
This is Mumbai attacks 2008.
Yes, sir. It must be related to the Taj Hotel attack.
Yes, I'm
Yes,
referring to the same.
Yes, sir.
So what was the achievement? How difficult was the task? And what was the criticism after that?
Sir, the major challenge was that those people, those terrorists were aware of Indian actions through media, and second challenge was that there were lots of normal citizens as well as foreigners in the hotel, and it was very important to save their lives, and at the same time we have to deal with the terrorists. So this was the biggest challenge.
Do you have some rough statistics as to how many hostages, how many terrorists, how many rooms searched?
Sir,
It's a very big hotel.
Sir, I'm not aware of that, but I know one of the NSG commando, Sandeep, and I watch a movie about him also, whose name is Major. So I know about that. I am not aware of that. Sorry, sir.
Okay. Why are they called Contingency Deployment Force, NSG?
Sir, I believe that it should be related to emergency situation, and they deal with the terrorist attacks type of emergency situation. That is what.
So coming back to the same Mumbai attacks, that time what was the criticism and what did it lead to ultimately?
Sorry, sir, I am not aware of that.
That they responded a little late in their mobilization, and therefore there was a need felt that we must have regional hubs. So how many regional hubs are there now? Maybe you remember the names?
No,
Okay,
sir.
it doesn't matter. Right. So regional hubs, they were created after that.
Yes, sir.
In Chennai, in Calcutta, in Bombay, Hyderabad, likewise.
Yes, sir.
And Gandhinagar. Right. How do you think improvements can be brought about in CAPF? What are the present challenges and how they can be improved?
Sir,
Any 2-3 reasons
the
and the
first
solution.
the first challenge is overload, because
Sorry?
there is overload,
Okay.
and because there are vacancies in CAPF, and the personnel have to work more than 8 to 10 hours, and this is the biggest challenge, I think. Second is that there is the threats which are coming are in the context of modernization, and the elements which are threatening India's sovereignty and integrity are using modern technology, for example drones, and as well as AI related technique. And in this context we need to train our military, our armed forces in this context. And second we should focus on mental well-being of our personnel, and because there are issues of fratricide and other related issues also. And fourth, other improvement, I can say that we should fill up the vacancies, and introduce the 8-hour rules so that they can the efficiency of our soldiers can be improved.
What are the basic reasons for fratricide?
Sir,
Any three reasons?
the first reason I believe that the stress through which they are going on. Second, the family stress, family related issues, and they are not able to get their chutti at the time. And third, I believe that they have to work for longer hours, and they are not able to cope up with the situation. So it can
So
be.
as assistant commandant, how would you ensure that your men are in good mental health and they are physically fit as well?
First, I think I will I will ensure that my personals will become more strengthened as a team. For example, I will ensure that games can be played. For example, hockey, volleyball, etc. And in this context, I think that team related issues can be solved. Second, I believe that counselors and psychologists can be ensured, and we can also use Vipassana and yoga technique to focus on their mental well-being. Third, I will ensure that the 8-hour rules can be followed, and if these personnel can switch each other position whenever the requirement. Fourth, I can see that frequent meetings can be occurred, and in the especially
Frequent meeting
between the commander as well in the.
Okay, good. Okay, fine. Right. We'll not talk about Vipassana and other things now. Granting that you will be able to organize. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You are three friends in a car, and you are, after a movie, you're going back and you see traffic light is red.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And nobody's around, no traffic, but traffic light is on,
Yes, sir.
red.
Yes.
What will you do?
Sir, I will ensure that they stop the car and follow the
Why
rules.
there is nobody? Why should you stop the car?
But sir, if we don't follow, इस समय मुझे सर जो महात्मा गांधी है उनका ख्याल आता है, वो कहते हैं कि सबसे बड़ा जो जस्टिस होता है, जस्टिस करने के समय वो हमारा कॉन्शियंस होता है. तो if there
you are good friends and talking. How you
Sir, I think that
young boys, 26 years of age.
they also have conscience, and they should ensure that we should follow law if at any cost. If it doesn't matter that we are anybody watching us or not, because it will become our habit to follow the rules.
Okay, let me stretch it a little. Suppose in the car
Yes, sir.
you have a very sick patient and time is at premium, and now the red light.
Sir, I think that our first priority in this situation should to save the life of the patient.
But you're jumping the line.
Sir, I think that in the case of ambulance, the rules can be certain.
But
that,
you have no license to jump. You are not an ambulance.
sir, I
How
think,
can you do that?
Sir, I think that in this context we can jump the red light.
Okay, you can justify.
Yes, sir.
Life is more important than discipline at that time, is it?
Sir, I think that life is the fundamental right under Article 21, and it cannot be infringed
All right.
at any cost.
There is a little bit of diplomatic crisis between India and Canada.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Sir, the main issue is that in the Canada, the ruling party have alliance with the pro-Khalistani party, and the issue is that it is influencing their their foreign policy, and they are interfering in India's internal relation that is related to Khalistan terrorism, and I think that this is the major reason.
Let's start from Niger onwards.
Okay, sir.
Huh.
Sir, in the case of Niger was killed by an anonymous person, and based on some anonymous report, they are alleging that India has and that
Involved in it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Indian government.
Niger was killed by Indian government or Indian agent, but they don't have any proof related.
But they have arrested now the hit squad, some members in that.
Sir,
Today's news.
okay, sir. I am not aware about today's news, but they should talk with the Indian authority and raise the issue diplomatically, but they raise the issue in the parliament. So I think that this is the major concern, and they are using this issue as a local political agenda to gain vote of Sikhs, especially who are radicalized in the context of
What is Mr. Modi's view on this, and what is Mr. Trudeau's his view on that?
Western.
When they met in G20, what did he say, Justin Trudeau?
Sir,
And how did Mr. Modi respond?
Sir, I think that Indian government's stance is very clear that you should show us the proof, and we will act accordingly, and we will do anything to ensure justice.
How is it affecting our people who are studying abroad in Canada?
Sir, we have a rich diaspora in Canada, and mainly students, and they regularly go to Canada, but it is influencing because these students as well as the our diplomats can be attacked by the terrorists in the region, and also this is affecting India's relation with Canada, and at the on the same line we can say that the atmosphere in the country is not good for our Indian citizens as well as our Indian students.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
East. How many states are there?
Sir, in Northeast we have 8 states and 7 sister. Yes, sir. Sir, in the context of Arunachal, we have a conflict related to China, as well as the terrorists which get refuge from Assam as well as Nagaland. In the context of Nagaland, we have NSCN, whose main demand is for having a sovereign state or for Great Nagaland. Yes, sir. In the context of Manipur, we have Mithi and Kuki conflict is going on. In the context of Meghalaya, I believe less conflict.
By and large, it's a peaceful nowadays.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Meghalaya
yes,
and the Mizo.
Yes, sir.
And what about Assam?
Sir, Assam, in Assam we have Bodoland dispute. For example, Bodos are demanding I can say that more freedom and more local authority, and they want to the Bengali speaking refugees to be get out from the region, because they want to protect their culture, and it is the main demand. And in Assam also we have Naga insurgents also. So these are the demands.
There was an act passed in 1967 known as Unlawful Activation Prevention Act.
Yes, sir. UAPA.
Why it came into existence? Why it was passed? What was the necessity to bring such kind of act?
Sir, UAPA is important in the context that there were unlawful activities were going on in Northeast as well as in the Naxalbari area and in the Red Corridor itself, and also in different part of India, for example Kashmir. So in this context that UAPA is very much important.
They have the banned few outfits from the Northeast, that's why they bring them. So tell me, have you heard about the LW area?
LW area, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why it is the central part of the India?
Sir, there are multiple.
What gives them strength to spread them?
Sir, there are multiple reasons for that. First is that region have very much rich resources, but they are not getting benefit from that. So this is a feeling of alienation among them, that they are not getting the benefit. Second, first is also related to lack of development. Second, I believe that in the region, these group can get out of the means. I want to say that there are tri-junctions, so they function on the tri-junction, and it is easy to get to pass the border. And if state and in this context, state police are not able to deal with them. So this is the second reason. Third, I think that there is influence of Marxism and and it gives them strength to fight against the states.
Mostly the area where it's spread is illiterate.
Yes, sir.
and the poverty is
Yes.
there. So what kind of sympathy they gain from the Naxals?
Sir, they gain the sympathy that they are fighting for their rights, and they will establish a country or a state in which they will have more say and more share in the resources, and they will reap the benefit of development.
They show it, they will do for them,
Yes.
but they kill also at the same time.
Sir, I think that these terrorists have nothing to do with the development of the people, and they are just using them as a shield against the state, and they are just keeping. They have the only agenda to fulfill their political goals, and they have nothing to do with anyone.
Suppose you became a assistant commandant in CRPF,
Yes.
posted in Chhattisgarh area,
Yes.
and then you have to lead the force,
Yes.
my front. At the same time, they are the Indian people. At the same time, you are the target.
Yes, sir.
CSF, security forces are target for them.
Yes.
How will you make the equilibrium balance so that you will save also, and you have to protect their rights also, and you have to neutralize them also? In that situation, you have to act.
Sir,
But all things you will think before doing anything.
Sir, first of all, I believe that I should focus on the protection and security of my force. Second, I will ensure that intelligence link with the, especially from the tribals, can be ensured. Third, I will take the benefit and establish link with the local leaders, especially the Saukars and the Panchayat leaders. Some should be there, and I will ensure good relation. Third, I will ensure that the benefit of government scheme can be reaped by them. For example, education, healthcare, Manrega. So in this context, these native people can benefit from them. The schemes going on for their benefit, and also they will the education and healthcare can be ensured for them. And in this context, I believe that they will have trust on the administration. Trust building is very much important.
Okay, thank you.
Well done, Vishal.
Thank you.
Well tired. You're well informed. Speak well. But the funny thing is that you should speak a little louder. It's pain. So, what happens that then you lose interest. You must speak a little louder so that you are able to.
Okay, sir.
Otherwise,
Thank you, sir.
General Saab rightly pointed out, when you came initially and you were answering the questions, नींद सी आ रही थी, because you are not so loud. So it should be presentable. Voice, you should not loud, but it's so presentable. And you have to be well informed. You keep yourself brushing up the latest news and current affairs about that.
आप 27 तारीख को एक दो आपने जब संस्कृत लिख ही दिया है तो एक दो श्लोक तो जानते हो ना। आप गायत्री मंत्र सुनाओगे तो
महामृत्युंजय मंत्र याद था।
नहीं आप उसके एक दो अच्छे अच्छे श्लोक है, क्या कहते हैं, इतने कॉमन प्लेस श्लोक है संस्कृत के। नहीं यू कैन थिंक मैं इतने श्लोक जानता हूं, दैट्स ऑल, यू नो, बट एटलीस्ट दो तीन श्लोक है, क्या कहते हैं, खास करके कर्मण्यवादी का रस्ते जो है, व्हिच आई थिंक आई होप अंडरस्टैंड, कर्मण्यवादी का रस्ते महाफलेषु कदाचन।
Yes sir, something I
ठीक है। दूसरा है नैनन छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनन दहति पावकर। तो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, बैठ करके दो तीन श्लोक आप रट्टा मार लो, समझ लो उसको बैठ करके। आई डू दैट because you have mentioned Sanskrit, you know. If you had not mentioned, I would not have been advising on that at all. That's number one. Number two is I'm not very happy with your what you call. Let me tell you very frankly about your historical tourism. In fact, you know, आपने historical tourism को seriously नहीं लिया। आपको लगता है कि बस वो नंबर बढ़ाने के लिए ये भी डाल दो वो भी डाल दो, ऐसा कुछ किया है। So at least going to the history of concentrate on one area, Old Delhi. यहाँ के बाउलीज ऑफ दिल्ली आर वेरी वेरी फेमस, इन फैक्ट, यू नो, अच्छे देखे ना करके हैं। तो एटलीस्ट यू शुड बी एबल टू से हाँ वहाँ गए थे, नीचे गए थे, पानी वहाँ खाया, ऐसा किया, स्टेप्स वाइज बना हुआ, बड़ी सुंदर बाउलियाँ हैं, ये वो लगभग
actually असलियत में जाना अलाउड नहीं था, मैं गया था।
नहीं तो ठीक है, नहीं असलियत नहीं तो और के जहाँ असलियत गया तो उसके बारे में पूरा, जैसे ये मेंशनिंग अबाउट हुमायूंस टूम्ब एटसेट्रा, तो उसी जहाँ ये बोला थोड़ा यू डू इट विद अ बिट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस इन फैक्ट, एंड देन यू कैन से कि आई कुड गो बिकॉज़ वी नॉट परमिटेड इन फैक्ट, यू नो, इफ यू हैड uttered that I would not made this statement also, because all of a sudden people say बॉली देखने गया लेकिन बॉली देखा नहीं, उतरा नहीं, ये क्या ऊपर ही देख रहे हैं बैठ करके, but when you mentioned a lot about that, so I hope you get my point.
Okay.
International affairs, since we mentioned about international affairs, we start talking about international affairs, although international affairs, I mean, there's not too much a requirement in international affairs in the interview of this type, but still we thought, let us ask you. And then, of course, you mentioned about the NCC B certificate, and then you mentioned about the cricket tournament. The cricket would make somebody interested, but member of environmental society, Bharitima in college. Now, this is very important,
Yes.
you know, because see, ultimately, even you have eco task force within the paramilitary forces also. In the army also you have, and there's a tremendous emphasis also to get into the environmental issue. That I think is very, very important for you. They may ask you.
Yes,
They can always ask you, you know. And other things, आपने ठीक ही बोला है. You got a good outstanding record also, like at 10/10 and 7.62, etc. And by and large, initially you were a bit hesitant, but later on you opened up. बिल्कुल छाती तान करके आप बोलो, कपड़े पर सही करा लो, बैठकर बोलने में आसानी होगी. We want you to perform well. You know, you're a good student, and you should do well. And the second interview, how much had you got in the previous interview?
Sir, I got 91.
90?
1.
90. It's not a bad mark. Not a bad mark. That's all. Anything that you would like to ask us?
Sir, I want to ask about was my English was good?
आप अंग्रेजी की चिंता मत करो, अगर कंटेंट है तो अंग्रेजी अपने आप बोल लोगे बैठ करके.
उसमें कोई दिक्कत
Don't get bothered about अंग्रेजी, हिंदी,
दिक्कत है हिंदी में।
अंग्रेजी, हिंदी, सूट ये सभी, these are not matter. See, अपना कंटेंट इंपॉर्टेंट होना चाहिए, थॉट प्रोसेस इंपॉर्टेंट होना चाहिए. मैं इस पे ज्यादा जोर देता हूँ. कपड़ा उपड़ा पहनना ठीक है, अपना पहन लो ठीक ठाक, साफ सुथरा आ जाओ बैठ करके. अंग्रेजी बोल लो, अगर अंग्रेजी नहीं तो आप अंग्रेजी, हिंदी, अंग्रेजी लिखो, अंग्रेजी बोलो, अच्छे से बोलो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. But have a right perspective on issues.
Yes.
आप समझ मेरी बात?
सर क्या मेरे किसी पॉइंट में कोई एक्सट्रीम स्टेटमेंट?
नहीं ठीक है,
नहीं ठीक है,
घबराने की जरूरत नहीं.
होता तो पॉइंट आउट कर देते.
हम ही कर पा रहे हैं. ठीक है, and do well, and you have done well in the interview last year also.
Yes, sir.